Pleasure, Reverend Mary.
I can feel a halo coming on. Can you see it? Does it bother you? It feels really nice, actually. Oh, good, good. Well, the topic of this is New Thoughts for Old. And I'm inviting you to really think, does anybody feel like they're in a rut, that their life is just in a rut? Anybody? Anybody feeling like there's really more to be done here, but we just haven't gotten with the program? But there's something pushing us, shoving us, saying, you could really do a lot better here in relationships and maybe work, whatever. Well, this is an expansive way Spirit has of pushing us along the path of life. Because if we're not growing, we're going the other way. And growth is what it's all about, especially in the spring. Don't you love the first bloom of the roses? It's just so wonderful. Well, this book called A New Design for Loving is in the bookstore by the cash register, and it's a fabulous book. It's written in easy-to-understand language, even though Ernest Holmes wrote it. But there's a lot of great wisdom in it, and I encourage you to read it, because he is taking the principles of science of mind and applying them in how to renew our life, how to renew it, how to kickstart a new feeling. It feels good in the spring to kind of kickstart something new, to do some pruning and weeding and planting flowers, to have a renewal going on. And we can do this in our life also. But in order to do this, it requires a couple of things. First is a willingness on your part to cut yourself loose from the way you've been doing things. You ever get in a habit, a pattern of, this is the way I do life, and there's no room for something new, something adventurous. And there might be something that you keep dragging along in life. It's just kind of that thing that keeps dragging. We keep pulling it along, and it doesn't make us happy. It could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be something that just isn't right, but we're afraid to let it go. We're afraid to see what we might replace it with. It might be worse. So the first thing is a willingness to let go of some of these undesirable things that we've just gotten used to. And the second thing is to enlarge our viewpoint. Enlarge our viewpoint. I get caught in this sometimes because getting older, I go, well, I would have done that when I was 30. And then I think, I can do it now. And I realize, at this age, no. I even got the newspaper the other day and said they were looking for more teachers at Shasta College. And I thought, well, I can do that. And I'm going, wait, stop it. You don't have to go doing those things, because in this part of your life, there's something greater to be done. And whenever I meditate on that, it's deeper spiritual study, deeper spiritual study. So the status quo, if it's intolerable in any area of your life, it's time to recreate. It's time to blossom into something new. So I'm here to declare that you are the architect of your life. You are. As of this moment, whether you wanted to believe it or not, and there is nothing standing in your way for renewal. Nothing, not a thing. Often we get caught at, if we don't see it, we can't believe it. But we have to believe it first in order to see it, and that's what we teach here. Things are not what they appear to be, because scientists are proving there's a lot more going on in the unseen world than we've ever thought before. The whole universe is a field of pure potentiality. I love that word. 2 words, pure potentiality. It's beautiful, because there's an intelligence out there that responds to us. Just like Spirit did this morning, if you were listening close enough. What is that one area of life where I'm meant to be more creative, where I'm meant to blossom more? And if you were listening close, this word went by, or maybe a picture or a sound or a feeling. Pay attention to that. It's the unseen part of our life that is as real as this podium. It is truly, truly real. So while scientists continue to discover what's going on in the unseen world, we can discover what's going on in our life by taking a good look at it. Taking a good look. Often we just kind of roll along, and it's May already. Yesterday it was New Year's Day. and it's May, and it's hot. It was 95 in April. Good grief, what's going on here, you know? There's a lot going on. And so what is the truth about you and me is that we are both the experimenter, but we're also the laboratory. Now, did you ever think of that? We are the experimenter with our life, but our life is the laboratory. It's so cool to think of that. We're the experimenter, and we are the laboratory, because what we experiment with within shows up in our life. So just imagine I'm up here in a white lab coat, and I'm gathering my tools. And I don't often use props, but I thought today it might be helpful, because we are the experimenter and we are the laboratory. Because what we're experimenting with is our thoughts. We are made of something unseen that is as big as the universe, and our thoughts go into this universe, and the universe responds. So there's a lot of things that impact that. But the most important thing is to remember we're part of unity. There's a unity here. There's only one field of energy of which we are a part. So there's unity, and in that unity there's safety. So we don't have to worry about anything. We are safe. We are connected to infinite intelligence. We are connected to pure potentiality in this life. But everything depends in our life on our mental capacity to move things in our mental state. And it's a realization of this. And once we grasp it, Ernest Holmes said, once we grasp how powerful we are, we're out of our crib. We're out of the crib, and we can't go back. We can't once we grasp this. A lot of times you hear thoughts are things, and you go, yeah, well, okay. But it's not a thing so much as energy. It's a packet of energy. My thought is a packet of energy going to you, and you're receiving it in some way, shape, or form. And your thoughts, whether, boy, that's a pretty hard concept to take on this morning, your thoughts are creating your response, your inner response, how you feel, how your cells feel, how your energy feels, if you feel enlivened or if you feel depressed. This is what thoughts do. So they're very, very powerful. And it's in these thoughts that we put our intention. And if our intention is the world is a scary place, it's a packet of energy that's going out into this field of pure potentiality. And the more we focus on it and focus on it and focus on it, it draws to us experiences to prove we're right. Because the universe always supports what we're thinking and what we're believing. So Lynn McTaggart, she's a investigative reporter who's investigating scientific evidence for our intention and how powerful it is. She's written a whole book about it. It's phenomenal how the power of intention can move things not only in the present moment, but it can move things in the future moment, because it's energy going out, and it can shift the future. So she pulled up a bunch of studies, scientific studies, about people with terminal illnesses and spontaneous remissions. And what she found in spontaneous remissions is that the people who were experiencing that finally gave up their psychopathic negativity and replaced it and became powerful in their own right in healing themselves, determining that they were healing themselves. So it was their deep intention, single-focused intention, very, very powerful. So our casual thoughts during the day, you know, we teach in classes that our casual thoughts are just 1,000 a day or even 1,000 a minute, depending on how fast your mind works. But these casual thoughts don't do too much until they keep repeating themselves. And as those thoughts repeat and repeat and repeat, it forms the energy of intention. And so while we may say things have never been worse in our lifetime as we get older, remember the 50s, the 60s, whatever, things were always good then, today they're not good, we are helping to create that experience. We're helping to prove that to ourselves and others. So intention is very, very, very important. And that's one reason we have our Creative Thought magazine. If you haven't purchased any of these, it's full of affirmative prayers for every day. I've been doing a question and answer column in here for 6 years. So every month there's my question to myself and my answer to myself, and they're kind of fun. But I read the intention of these prayers. I consciously choose a good life. Well, heck, who wouldn't want a prayer like that? I am perfect, whole, and complete. Forgiveness sets me free. What a great prayer. I express as the infinite. I trust the process. Divine love expresses through me. I love my reality. That's a good one to read. That's a good one to read. I claim health. All these are here every day of the month for your use to help with that intention. For example, I claim health. I acknowledge a tiny sparkle within that light that spreads and heals. The divine awaits my clarity as to what I desire and what I accept as true. It mirrors back to me from within, calling me to consciously claim health, peace, and well-being. That's how intention works. That's why these are so great to carry along in your purse or your pocket or wherever you go. Because the power of intention obviously impacts our health, but it impacts everything around us. So there's a couple things about intention, and one of them is to be very specific. On Lynn McTaggart's website, she invites you to participate in her experiments of being specific and being very specific and visualize it as if it already occurred. Third step of treatment, I accept it as if it already occurred. Treatment is affirmative prayer. And then to hold that mental picture, It's really good for athletes. You know, they do this a lot. They hold the picture of them sinking the basketball or running down the field or skiing or whatever they're doing. They hold that mental picture and they engage all their senses. They see it, they smell it, they feel it, they touch it, so that when they're on the field or the basketball court and they see that opportunity for that play, the body's already responding. It's already responding because it's done this before 1,000 times in their mind. One basketball player I was reading about this week said he would do 30 different plays in his mind many times a day. Every move, every footprint, every reach, every muscle. And then when he got on the court, it flowed. It just flowed. Very famous basketball player. So this morning we're talking about the power of intention. Our thoughts are things, but there's a couple other things that I want to share with you about this, and one of them is faith. And that's why I brought some of these containers. These containers represent our faith. Does your faith have a lot of sieves in it? I thought that was good for sieves. Or is it really sturdy? Or is it just practical? What's your faith like? Your faith in God, your faith in yourself, your faith in life, that life is good. I really invite you to think about that. How solid is it? Do you have a faith strong enough to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve? Well, you can build it up through the power of intention. That's the great news. You can build up that faith through the power of intention. Now, the shape of the container is another thing, and that's the mental equivalent. I went out and picked this gorgeous rose this morning out of the garden by the pavilion. It's just spectacular. But if we put it in this container, it just doesn't do too much for me. If I put it in this container, it doesn't do too much for me. But when I put it in this container, it's exquisite. Mental equivalent. You have a beautiful idea, but what's your mental equivalent of it actually happening in your life? Mental equivalent. Isn't that just stunning? That's absolutely stunning. Hopefully it'll stand there. Okay. Whoa. All right. Are a mental equivalent. Do we accept a relationship that's loving or argumentative? Mental equivalent. oh, everybody I am in relationship with, all I do is argue with them. It's a mental equivalent. If we're attracting people who are argumentative and we think that's a good relationship, I'm inviting you to set a new intention. I'm inviting you to see that love and support can be your reality in relationship. So if we're in a job that is really boring or we really don't like, we have set up a mental equivalent in our deepest mind that says that that's all we deserve. How do we know that? Because we're in it. The thought and the intention is first, and then the experience is second. So if we're in a relationship that's not supportive, we have to look at our mental equivalent. If we're in a job that we just don't like, we have to think, is this all I thought it was? Is this what I really think work should be? It should be drudgery, because my dad said that for 20 years when I was growing up. We have to think about that. And so Paula and I, we live in a nice house, and I invite you to think, is your home small and cramped or spacious? Mental equivalent. Now, for 3 weeks in the month of June, we're going to live in a small room that's cramped. But it's going to be on a boat on a river cruise in Europe for 3 weeks. So we're going to be gone. But, that's a good mental equivalent, isn't it? It's a really good mental equivalent. We're going to be going from Budapest to Amsterdam, and, it's just going to be wonderful. And I like it that our life has that kind of mental equivalent in it. It's really wonderful. We were going to go last summer, but Paul's knee gave out, and his mental equivalent was getting it replaced, and now he's really strong, and he's going to be able to walk up all those hills and cobblestones, so we're very excited about that. But I invite you to think about your mental equivalent of life. Lovely Hazel's with us this morning, and we've been loving her all week. And I was able to be at her house a little bit this week, and it is so spectacular, the view, the feeling, the rejuvenation you feel there in that atmosphere. It's just full of love, full of love. So it's a mental equivalent, so it's something to think about. This is thinking outside the box, because every bit of energy we put into something, our thoughts, our beliefs, sets up a vibration. So here's the real secret. It sets up a vibration because it's energy. Everything's vibrating. But the more energy we put into something, the higher it vibrates. Now, when it vibrates, it goes by the laws of the universe, and it gets symmetrical. If you ever look at a snowflake or a crystal of salt under a microscope, you can see there's symmetry there. Just like this rose, there's beautiful symmetry. A snail shell, a clam shell, a beehive, the symmetry there. That's what we're doing. And so our energy vibration creates a symmetry in our life. And so it's really important to think deeply what that is showing up like in your life. Now, I met a lady about a year ago, and she had had a string of disastrous relationships. Maybe disastrous is a little tough word, but very unhappy relationships. So we talked a lot about it. Well, what was your intention in relationship? What was your faith in relationship? What do you think you deserved in relationship? Well, here's what came out. I deserve a man I can fix. So who did she attract? Men who really needed fixing, but they weren't up to being fixed. Someone I can give myself totally to. It's a person who's needy. If you think you're going to fulfill them, you're going to attract somebody that's needy. She wanted someone who needed her. So guess what that attracted? Think about it. Mental equivalent, someone that needs me, means controlling, very controlling, and jealous. So this was the type of disaster she was having time after time after time. So we talked about what she really wanted, and when we got down to brass tacks, what she really wanted was somebody who was loving, kind, intelligent, and on an equal parity with her in what she desired out of life. And then I had to tell her the truth. You have to become that. That's right, Jeannie. What you're looking for is what you're looking with. You have to become that. Because we are attracting our mental equivalent. So I'm happy to say I've attracted my mental equivalent with Paul, and Paul's with me, and most of you have too. But if you haven't, I invite you to think about what is it about my personality or my belief in another person where I'm attracting somebody that's just not a good fit, not a good job, not a good car. You know, cars are energy and motion too. So it's always fun to think about the cars we attract. So it's drawing people, places, things to us. And so I invite you to think about your measuring cup. Do you deserve a quarter cup of love? Really? Do you deserve a quarter cup? Half cup? Well, my mom told me I really wasn't that good, so I only deserve a half a cup. Well, I'll bet that's true, and I bet that's what you get. But you deserve more than this. You deserve all the love that you can handle, all the love that you can hold. So if you're a quarter cup person, come and see me. It has to do with how we accept ourselves. So prosperity consciousness is a vibration of energy. You know, we do really well here, but we don't always do really well. We do really well in December and January. It's like, what happened? And so what we've invited our board to do, and our practitioners and ministers, is what is our mental equivalent of prosperity here? Is it adequate or exquisite? Let's kick that baby up a little bit. It should be exquisite. We should be able to do the things that we need to do and want to do and offer more, better, whatever. But adequate is getting tiresome. And so where do you go to change that? You go within, to the leadership of the center. So I'm inviting you to think of your own personal prosperity consciousness and join with us in this, because it's a vibration. When we've got it, you're going to pick it up. And if you pick it up and you invite that in your life and you strengthen us, so it's like a mutual give and take. Let's make your life as prosperous as you ever dreamed it could be. And I bet our life here at the center overall, because of that consciousness, is going to change dramatically. So here's what we've talked about. There's an invisible reality behind everything that we see, feel, touch, smell. And there's an invisible reality beyond that. And our thoughts are the determining factors of our life, because our thoughts are little packets of energy drawing like to it. And I invite you to just have fun with that in your environment at work or at home. No matter what it is, if it's a vase on your table at home, you invited that there. You invited all the beauty of your home there, because it's your mental projection. It's your mental equivalent. So our mental equivalent gives us the opportunity to accept greater things in our life, to create a new design for living. The only limitations are what we will accept, what we will focus on, our little thoughts during the day, that kind of little packets of energy that keep growing and accumulating more energy, and boom, it's like a magnet. All of a sudden, we're experiencing it. I've done 5-year plans for myself, and I look back after 5 years ago, I'll be darned. That's exactly what happened, because I put it in mind. And so it's important to update that, renew ourselves. Because by changing our attitude, we can be in awe with the universe, just in awe with what is, because it's really phenomenal. And the greatest vibration that we can put in motion is self-respect, our own love of ourselves, because we are individual creations of the One. You have the respect of God. I mean, is that cool? You have the respect of the infinite intelligence of the universe. So let me read again this last paragraph in this wonderful book. A greater adventure lies ahead of you. Discover within yourself that divine spark which may be fanned into a glowing flame, giving you warmth and security. The light from it can certainly and surely guide you to the greatest experience any person can have, the experience of the presence of God, to whom and through whose law all things are possible. And so it is. So let's embed that in a treatment, our form of affirmative prayer. There is only one thing happening here in this universe. It's the power and the presence and the love of God for its creation. Each one of us is so intensely loved by this intelligence that it has given us the individual power to ask for what we want and to receive it, knowing the universe always says yes. So today I embed in every heart here in this room positive, life-affirming thoughts. Thoughts of love, joy, happiness. Thoughts of peace, thoughts of prosperity. Thoughts of exquisite living, whatever that means to you. This is our divine right by being children of God. It's our right by being individual creations of the One. And so as I accept today ways of thinking more clearly, seeing more clearly, feeling more clearly, I know all is well with the world. The world is for us, not against us, because we have that divine right as a child of God. So I give great thanks for this remembrance this morning, knowing sometimes it's a daily remembrance, but that's okay. Every day we do better and better at living our bliss, our joy, our unity with the One. And so it is. All right. Let me get out of your way here.